Hi, everybody. Didn't have it in the right place, did I? Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining me today on our Wednesday Wonder. Wonder what we're going to be doing. That's what that's all about. Lovely to see all the familiar names here, so thank you very much for joining me. And I know many of you are going to be joining me in an afternoon workshop, so I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And yeah, magical. Now, funny you should say that, Nikki. I wonder what magical creation awaits us today. It's Christmas magic. Yay! It's Christmas magic with a twist, because you might see from here that we've got Christmas things going on here, which is like our stag and our skates, but I'm incorporating a cheeky penguin or two. So using the papers as papers, if you see what I mean. So I'll tell you what I have got. We're going to do a fancy fold. We have got a piece of navy card. Now that isn't a Craft 2 linen card, I have to admit, because there isn't really, there's ultramarine, but that's not quite the blue that I wanted to do. So I've got a piece of navy card, then I've got a piece of old blue linen card, and then I've got this, which is the Paper Boutique Christmas Magic. It does come in various different guises. I have just a few left, and they are embellishment pads, paper pads, and the coloured card that goes with it, if you're interested in that. And you have got a variety of different papers to go with it. Just loving these. These are really ideal for all sorts of occasions. And I am going to pick a couple of those to work with on my card. So I'm going to do that whilst I think about it. I'm going to pick that one because I like the little bit of red in there, and then I'm going to go for the star one. Oops. So I'm going to pick those two as well. Okay, so pop that to one side, and as I said, it's a fancy fold card. So let me show you what I mean by it. So here is my card that I'd already made. You can see my lovely penguins there. These are the large penguins. And if you haven't got them in your life, you do need them. They do need a new home. And I have got just again a few of those left individually. There are also some small penguins, literally two. And I think there are one or two of the gnomes left from the weekend's show. So if anyone wants any of the things you can see here, pop yourself over to maximumcrafts.com where you might find them. So here is our card. It is a 12 centimetre by 18, so basically a 5 by 7. But I've done it in centimetres because I'm sorry, I can't do it in, I don't know what 1/16 is and 1/8 and all that. So I've done it in centimetres because it's easier. Oh, oblige. Sorry. Hold on. I hope I've stopped that. Otherwise, I'm talking to someone in Manchester. You can still hear me, can't you? I think you can. Can I have a few thumbs up if you are actually still able to hear me? I hope I didn't just turn it all off. I don't think I did, so I'm going to carry on. But I can't see that anyone's saying anything, so I do hope I haven't just turned it off. Okay, so I'll carry on regardless and pretend that I'm not talking to myself. Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Right, okay. So my cards are 5 by 7 and folded flat, virtually flat, but each of my little boys will sit up nicely to attention. Okay, so I saw a very similar card showcased on an American site, but that, so for those people that really like the Americans inch sizes, I do suggest you nip yourself over to there. I think it was Split Coast Stampers. But I have made it larger because we do a larger card over here. So I have made it larger, and I prefer that's the sort of, you know, best way to go for us over here. So you may also notice a sneaky little snowflake that I've popped in there. So let's show you how to do this little treasure. Obviously, you could do it with all sorts of things. They could be not just penguins, they could be the gnomes, they could be the flowers, they could be all sorts of things. But I like my gnomes. Penguins, I should say. So penguins it is. So without further ado, we need our first piece of card, which is this piece, which is the navy one. So whichever colour you're going for, I suggest that it's a darker shade and then a lighter shade. So if I get this around the right way, that would be good. And I'm going to cut my piece of card at 24 centimetres. No, hold on. Get that there. Yeah, 24 centimetres by 18. So that is my card base. Okay. Then, whilst we've got cutting out, we're going to take the next shade down, which, as I said, is this sort of corresponding one there. And I'm going to cut one piece, which is a centre panel, and that piece is going to be 11.5 centimetres by 17.5 centimetres. Okay. So that's my centre panel. And then, whilst I'm at it, I'm going to cut out myself some papers from here. And I need 2 pieces because that's enough to fit it in. And they are going to be 11 centimetres by 5.5. So 2 of those. 11 by 5.5. 2 like that. From that pattern, so you can see you've got loads left over. Can obviously be used with scraps and things. The only thing I would suggest though is when you're using this type of pattern or making this type of pattern is that you try to go for a smaller sort of actual pattern, because if it's too big, when you're cutting it down to size, it sort of gives you too big a pattern to work with, if you see what I mean. So I've cut out all of my pieces, but I also need to cut these pieces as well. But I'll do that in a minute because all will come a bit clearer when you see it. So here's my first piece, my piece that was 24 by 18, and I'm going to fold that in half. Whoops. And I'm going to take my burnisher and I'm just going to burnish that fold line there. Then I'm going to open it up. And I'm going to bring in my cutter again. Now, if you haven't got a cutter like this, you might want to do this with a craft knife or scissors or whatever. But I find that if you're doing it with a cutter that's like this, where you've got a runner down here, can't do it with guillotine, then it's easier to do it in the way that I'm going to do. So I'm simply going to take the front panel. So I've opened it up here. And I've got my crease line here, and I'm going to measure at 6 centimetres. I'm going to take my first line to 6 centimetres, and then I'm going to bring my cutter down and cut it as far as my fold. So 6 centimetres here, and then line up with my fold. And then I'm going to move it along to 12 centimetres along this line here. And I'm going to do exactly the same. Just going to cut it down until I get to my fold. So, excuse me, if you were going to do this with a craft knife, you simply measure at 6 and 12, and then using a straight line, you cut yourself down to the fold line. But because I've got this, I find that's the easier way to do. Okay. Now, then, again, I could do it on there because I have actually got something that would, I've got a score blade on there, but I do find that that score blade can be a bit thick and I want to have something a bit smaller. So I'm needing to score these 3 panels. I'm going to take a small headed ball tool, and that's what I'm going to use in order to score them. I'm going to turn my card over. And you can see now that that's where the flaps are. So if I just crease these again, you can see my flaps there like that. And if you can imagine, we're going to pop this in a minute in the center there. Okay, but not just at the minute. So having got our flaps done, we then need to make these scoring, and we're going from the top right to the bottom left in all cases. Okay, so the top right to the bottom left. Okay, so when I get my metal ruler, so that's a nice hard piece to actually use my ball tool across. So I'm just going to go from there to there. So I'm going to put in my ruler, and I'm just going to hold it. I could draw it. You might want to draw it to be sure that that's where you've got it. And I'm just going to draw that line, the crease line down there. Can't see that very well on such a black card, can you? Can you see that now? There now. So I'm going to do that on all of them. So I'm going to go from the fold line down to that point. Do it twice, and then this piece as well. Fold line down to the point. Okay, so my fold lines are all in place, so that when I now turn that over, I can now simply just fold that like that. Now, I can imagine that you're going to have fun because you're going to measure it and it's not going to be in the right position. You're going to fold it and it's not going to be in the right place. And also it's very dark, isn't it? You can't really see that so well. Sorry about that. I didn't think of, but I've got all the lights on and everything, but it didn't show so well. But you'll see it better when I've got the lights with the lighter card on in a second. Now, you know what? Having put that there, I've decided I don't like that colour because it's not going with that. So I'm going to have to change that. I'm going to change it for either a grey. Yeah, I think a grey or white. But sorry, I've changed my mind on the colouring. It just clashes, and I don't. Oh, sorry. I don't want my arm in the way. I don't want it to clash. I want it to blend. So I've got a piece of grey card, which I'm going to have to quickly trim down. So 11.5 by 17.5. You know what I'm like. I look at it, and if it's not right, I can't do it. It has to be right. That's better. That will fit in better. It could even be a piece of white card, actually. White would look nice there as well, but grey is better. So actually now you can see that a bit better. So I'm now going to get my little trimmer, my little guillotine, because again, that makes life easier, because I want to actually now cut these down. So I'm going to cut from point to point. And by doing that, again, you could do it with a paper, a pencil, and mark it. But I am just going to get the point along the cutting edge here and wiggle that to the point there. And then chop that down. So that's going to go there. That's going to go there. Do that with this one. Wiggle it so point to point. Oops. There. And then we've got to do these bits, but we won't be using all of them, obviously, because we've only got 3 panels. Okay. So let me just do this one, and then all the panels are cut. Oops. Oh, got to be crucial, you know. So I've got all my bits and pieces that are going to be stuck onto my card. And before I do that, we've then got our little men. So I've already stamped out the large of our penguins, and I'm not going to go overboard colouring them in. I'm going to do very, very basic. I'm going to colour their little beaks in with an orange. because in all honesty, if you're not into colouring, you could just put these on without any colour whatsoever. So I'm just going to colour their beaks in so that they've got a nice little orange beak. Yeah, we can change our mind. We're allowed. It's okay. It's okay to change your mind. And I'm just going to go with some blue hats. The bauble bit of the hat, I'm going to leave. Because I want to put a bit of sparkle on there. So I'm taking the red because I've got the red in the pattern here. So I think I can sort of mix and match, but I don't want to go with too many other different colours. I just literally want to have just a few colours. I think that if you go a bit too mad with the colours, then it's not really necessary. I'm just going to colour these in. And again, as I always say, these would be ideal for children to colour in. And the gnomes and things, they do make an easy way to do. So just colour that in a bit easier. And finally our little thing. So I'm not going to colour, I'm not going to worry about that bit there. I'm going to colour in my box. Like that. And this one I shall colour in a different way. Again, if you are keen on colouring, they are nice to colour, but you don't have to be keen. You could leave them all totally black and white. So just take a slightly darker blue and give this one a darker blue hat. And we'll have dark blue ribbon. Do you know what? I can't talk at the same time as colour. I don't have that ability. I can't concentrate. You do need to concentrate a bit. Otherwise I'm going to go over the lines too much. I don't want to go over the lines. So just, I think I'll call that a day. I won't go mad. Yeah, I will. I keep changing my mind, Nicola. Sorry. I'm just going to do that. You would take more time, obviously, but I assume that you don't want to sit and watch me colouring all day long. Okay, so more or less like that. So then we're going to get a pair of scissors and I'm going to just cut them out. And I do, if you watch the shows at the weekend, you will have noticed that John commented about whether there should have been a die to cut these out. Whoops. And I think the jury's out on that one, in all honesty, because they are really, really simple to cut out. But at the same time, a die would have been good. The only thing is that the die just makes it that much more expensive. So instead of it being sort of £7, you were talking about nearer to £20. And that sort of is a bit prohibitive, I think. But there you go. As you can see, really simple to cut out. As always, I leave a little white border all the way around. But there's one cut out. So they're not really difficult. I do put my little scissors away, hence why I've got the big pair, but they aren't fussy cutting. Yeah. So we are cutting this out. The staff has arrived and is yelling out hello because he doesn't realise that I'm back on the duty at the moment, on duty. So you'll see that I'm just ignoring the staff. Okay, so just cutting out these. Try not to cut his feet off. And then just one little more, just a little bit fussier with this one because he's got the scarf bleh, that's just sitting out, and his little wings are out a little bit more. But again, nothing, you'll take more time than I am, but nothing too dreadful. I'll just pop that in. Okay. So again, the gnomes would work very well. Flowers would work well with this type of thing, making this into a totally different thing. You could put numbers into the here if it was somebody's 60th birthday or something, with little balloons, all sorts of things. It could be, you never know, we might even see this one as a die as well, eh? So there is our little Diddy men. Diddy men. I'm going to get some frosted sparkle glitter bits. Keep them in a big pot here. Need to refill. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue glaze onto the bauble parts of the hats. And then I'm just going to dip them in. And then you can see, hopefully, that that really sparkles. So nothing too much, because I didn't want it to be too sparkly, but it just gives a nice little finish to it. So I'm going to pop that to one side, and then I'm just going to stamp these, pop these on here, and I'm going to stick this bit on first. So I'm going to open this up, and then I'm going to stick my grey bit down and just pop that into position first. So just a bit of glue onto the back there, just leaving it with a little border all the way around, making sure that it's obviously not too close to this bit here, but it should give you just that nice little border. Then I'm going to open them up flat so that I can put them into place. And obviously they need to go in various different places, but they need, I'm just putting them, alternating them. Okay, so just a little bit of glue onto this one at the bottom here. So, whoops, move that into place there. And then I'm going to alternate that with one of the other colours so that that one fits on top there. Then I think I'm going to go with that one there. So it's like a triple flag easel. I don't know, something like that, eh? Never know what to call these things. They're almost like flags, aren't they? You could put them as flags. They would look really quite nice. And then we go with, oh, can't get hold of it. Oh, we've got to go with that one there. And if I just put it around the wrong way. Oh, I don't want two the same, do I? I'm going to have to cut another one out. Hold on. Going to have to cut another one out because I don't want two the same. I want them to be alternating, do I not? So 11 by 5.5. I don't think that makes any difference, but I am gonna, I'm sure this doesn't make any difference whatsoever. Cutting it around the wrong way, but I'm just thinking whether it does. Oh, just chop the top. Oh, blimey. And now I haven't got the right one again, have I? Oh, what am I doing of? I want that one. I've got that one there. Why have I not got that one there then, everybody? I don't know. I don't want it like that. I want it like that. Well, talk amongst yourselves whilst I work that one out then. I got enough there. Hold on. 11 by 5.5. Now come along. I do not know why I have not got that other bit there in the right way. So I need it to be that way. I probably have got now thousands, and you're probably all screaming at me and saying it's that one. Because it's that one. I don't know. Oh, well, I best go back to bed. I slept forever yesterday, and now I best go back to bed. Right, whatever. Fortunately, my beautiful little oh God, I can't even think what they're called now. Penguins. The penguins are going to be hidden, so all is well. Right, now we just need a couple of stoppers. So I'm going to take my scrap of my navy card, and I'm going to just want about a 2 centimetre piece. So I'm going to cut a sliver. A 2.5, a 2.5 and a 2. So 2.5 or 1 inch. Oops. As a sliver. And then in order to cut it easily, because I only want little bits, I'm going to cut it from the other end. So instead of trying to get 2.5 that way, I'm actually going to take off 2.5 from this end. So I've got it at 14, so 2.5 makes that 11.5, and then 9, and then 7.5. Just makes it easier. And then I need to get a little piece of my grey that was left over, and again, just this one's going to be 2 centimetres because I want it to a little bit smaller. Actually, we go for 2 and a bit. And then again, in order to make that easier to cut, that one is at 12, and then 2 and then oh, I can't work that out either now. Let's put a 9 in, easier, and 2 in a little bit. So just giving you just little tiny squares. Now if you've got a square punch, that might be easier, or you might just want to work with bigger squares so that it's easier to say what size it is. So I'm just going to put a little blob of glue into the center of each of those so that my square of my grey, which was the center panel, so whatever you've done there, and then I'm going to put a little blob of glue in the center of those, and I've taken the snowflake die and I'm just going to put one of the snowflakes in the center, just to break that up, which I think looks quite nice, into there. Oops, move that around. Now I'm going to pop onto that and turn those over, and I'm just going to put a little pad of foam. These are a cheapy foam that I've got ages ago, but just pre-cut foam pads there, just so that I can put them into position onto here. Now when you're going to put them into position, obviously you need to take the backing off, and I'm going to pop a little bit of glue onto that, but we're just going to open this up a little bit, and it's going to go down in this bottom corner here. So I've got it about 0.5 centimetre from either side, so 0.5 centimetre there, 0.5 centimetre from there, so that sits up like that. Don't want it up here, and I don't want it tucked right in the corner. I want it to look nice like that. So I'm going to shut that one down whilst I do the next one. So we're going to open that one up, and I'm going to sort of square that up with the one that's behind. Yeah. So that that's more or less in the same place. And then finally with this one. So again, just about there. So hopefully, when I look at them, they should be more or less all in the same line on that bit there. Okay, so that's all my stoppers for my easels. So that when I put them in there, they all open nicely like that. And then I'm just going to get my little penguins. So in order to put them into position, you might want to put them so that, or I am going to put them so that you can actually see all three of them when they're standing up. So that means you need to just pop them into slightly different positions. Yeah, so I'm going to put the one at the top. He's going to go on this bottom piece here. So he doesn't need very much glue, just literally on his feet, because the only place that he's going to be attached is just down in this corner. So I'm going to put his feet on there so that they are absolutely flat with the bottom of this panel, but there's no glue anywhere else because he needs to be able to sit like that. Okay. So then the snowman that's going to sit on this one, I'm going to put him on the other edge so that he is going to be right on the far edge. And I'm going to trim his shoe round or foot round a bit. So I'm going to, he's got a bit more area to put some glue on, so I can go a bit further up his body, but I'm not going to go overly on there. So that's going to go down to there, so that when he sits up, he can sit like that. Oh, should have folded these a bit better, and I didn't. Like that. And then finally, I should have folded this one, so I'll do that now. Finally, our last little boy goes on, and he can sort of go probably in more or less the same position as the first one again, I think, so that he is down here. Okay, so a little bit of glue on his feet. Tuck him down. And the only thing you need to be a bit careful for when you actually close your card up is that you don't trap a penguin, because you wouldn't want to trap a penguin. So you just need to be a bit careful that this one is not trapped by that. So just lay them all flat like that. They're all flat like that. And then you sit them up by just pressing the easel in. Okay. And then obviously your stoppers are holding your card up here, but when you put them down, they all go in quite nicely. Okay, so despite the fact that I should have just stuck with one side there because it looks a little bit funny now, but never mind. I don't quite know why I messed that up, I'm sure, because they should all be just cut the same way, which they clearly were eventually. Whatever. Anyway, there you go. There's our beautiful little snowmen. So with our little sparkly hats, I don't know if the camera lights are catching that. I like that with just a little bit of a sparkle. So yeah, all different things. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed today. And as I said, let me just have a look at the just having a look what you're saying. Yeah, September card kit was the bauble, what did they call that? Goodness me, bauble branch. But the animals was the August kit. Can you think of that? Goodness me, we're already that far ahead. But yeah, so a little bit different for you, but I hope you like it. So I will be back on Sunday, be back to being live on Sunday, and got some interesting things for you to see on Sunday. We've got all sorts of things coming up as well. We have got, as I say, workshop online for some lovely ladies this afternoon, and I've got another workshop using Penny's baubles on Saturday afternoon, so I look forward to seeing some of you then. And fast approaching our John Lockwood workshop, which is in October, on October the 9th. So that's really something to look forward to. That's very exciting. The packs are going out this week for those of you who are booked onto that. So that's great. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for putting up with all the messes. But hey ho, there you go. Have a great day. Don't work too hard if that's what you're doing. And I look forward to catching up with you soon. Take care. Bye.